Hey, welcome. Today we are cracking open an absolute classic, The Money Game by the one and only Adam Smith. Well, the pseudonymous one. Now, forget everything you think you know about investing manuals. This book, it's not about formulas or some secret technique. It's about image, reality, anxiety, and money. And yeah, in that exact order. The whole idea is that to get a grip on the market, you first have to understand the messy, totally irrational, but fascinating world of human psychology. So let's start by tearing down the very foundation of how we're all taught to see Wall Street.
All right, let's dive right in with the big one, the question at the heart of this whole thing. Is the stock market a science? I mean, we're taught to see it as this world of numbers and charts, rational analysis, cold, hard facts, a place where prudent men make prudent decisions. But what if that entire image is just wrong? This is literally the book's opening shot, and man, is it a powerful one. What he's saying here is that pretty much everything we believe about Wall Street is basically a commercial. You know, a story they tell us to keep everyone quiet and in line. But the reality? The author says it's something else entirely, something way more chaotic and, frankly, a lot more interesting. Yeah, we're sold this specific myth, the idea that money is a very serious business and that managing it is some kind of holy duty. This is the world of balance sheets, income statements, where every single decision is supposedly based on pure logic. That's the official story anyway. But the Money Game just peels back that serious-looking cover to show us the much wilder truth hiding underneath. So the first pillar of this new reality, it actually comes from a single, kind of jarring word used by one of the greatest economic minds in history. He didn't call it a profession or an occupation or a science. The master himself, John Maynard Keynes, called it a game. I mean, just stop and think about what Keynes is saying here. He's saying that without that gambling instinct, investing is just boring, a tedious exercise. This completely flips the script on the whole thing. All of a sudden, it's not just about owning a piece of American industry. It's about playing a contest, and it's driven by human instinct and the simple desire to win. And just look at the dictionary definition of game: sport, play, frolic, fun. When you start thinking of the market like this, it strips away all those crippling emotions and that false sense of seriousness. The goal becomes crystal clear: win the stake. It forces you to actually acknowledge the human element instead of just pretending it's not there. Okay, so if the market is a game, who are the other players? Well, the book's second huge insight is that you're not playing against a bunch of rational individuals. No, you're playing against a crowd. A single collective entity that has a mind of its own. One of the book's legendary characters, a fund manager they call Mr. Johnson, he put it perfectly. He said the market is like a composite personality. Sometimes it's euphoric, sometimes it's despairing, and he noticed that a crowd of men acts like a single woman. Now hold on, he didn't mean this literally. It was a metaphor for something that's endlessly fascinating, super complex, always changing, and always a little bit mystifying. A personality you have to feel and sense, not one you can just calculate. And you know what? This idea lines up perfectly with the classic work on crowd psychology by Gustave Le Bon. In a crowd, we kind of lose our sense of individual responsibility. Emotions become contagious. Think about a crazy buying panic or a selling frenzy. And people become super suggestible, latching onto simple, powerful ideas. Like that time everyone thought the whole world is going to go bowling, and Brunswick stock went nuts. Or the idea that growth is the magic answer to every problem. This all leads us to the third and honestly the most crucial pillar of all. We've talked about the game and we've talked about the crowd, but the Money Game argues that the most important variable isn't out there in the market. It's right here, inside you. It's about the player, not the pieces on the board. This image right here gets to the absolute heart of it. Looking at a stock is just like looking at an ink blot. What you see, whether it's an opportunity, a danger, the future, it says way more about your own personality, your own biases, and your own emotional needs than it does about the company itself. The book draws this brilliant line between two mindsets. On one side, you've got the analyst. They're obsessed with details and they get this ego boost from being right. But the successful portfolio manager, the true player, they're different. They just want to win. They care about the final score, not about being correct on every single play. They operate on intuition that's built from tons of experience, not just by adding up details. So all of this, it leads to one final, absolutely critical takeaway. If the market is a game of psychology, both mass and individual, then what's the single most important rule for playing it and actually winning? What's the one thing you have to know before you even put a chip on the table? So, what is it? What's this ultimate prerequisite? You might think it's about mastering price to earnings ratios, or predicting interest rates, or having some perfect economic crystal ball. But the book's biggest secret, its first and most important rule, it has absolutely nothing to do with money at all.
And there it is. That right there might be the most powerful sentence in the entire book. The market is basically a giant, incredibly expensive mirror. It will find your flaws, it will prey on your anxieties, it will exploit every single one of your emotional blind spots. If you don't have a handle on who you are, your real tolerance for risk, your need for security, maybe even your hidden desire to lose, the market will be more than happy to teach you. And trust me, the tuition is very, very high.
Which brings it all back around to you. The money game doesn't really give you the answers. It gives you a question. When the chips are down, when the pressure is on, who are you? Are you patient, impulsive, fearful, greedy? Answering that question might just be the most profitable investment you ever make. Thanks for tuning in.